Thank you for your patience, everyone. The first time I'm ever live streaming, which is fun.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
We have to get you
It's working, Patrielle. You're doing great.
I do have one of those too, but I wanted to do it from the computer standpoint. I thought it would be better because of recording aspect. Okay, so do I need to shut off a sound or something like that?
on YouTube. You just want to make sure your mute is on.
Mute is on. How do I find that? No. Do you know where that option is by chance?
If you go onto the YouTube
It's on here.
and then just go to mute.
At the top? Search with your voice. Nope.
Yeah, there you
Oh, I just didn't. It was hidden. Okay, so it's on. It says, I think the
go.
sound's
It's on
on.
mute.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. And then I go, oh, so I don't have to do anything. I can just stay here.
You could.
Cool. All right. Awesome. All right. Perfect. So, hello world. So I'm very excited for this is it better for me? No, okay. We'll just do it like this. You can hear me.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this because we just went through an entire series together. I mean, how incredible is that? Like, this was the last, what, 3 months of our life that we got to explore the zodiac energies in a new way, a way that I've never like done before. But we got to do it together as a team. And I like to be able to open that up for more beings to be involved so that we can have, more discussions and everything. But I want to take us through what we just did a little bit and then get some feedback and some discussion going based off of like the model we used. So we used a model that was connected with Chris Witecki, which was, it's going from the 0 point through the numerology of Scorpio and setting the sacred space, which we're in, and transforming that all the way to Virgo, which is the embodiment. And so in Scorpio, we set that sacred space with sound healing and with crystal gridding and intention setting. And like how important is, that part of this is the first question I really want to open up is how important it is to set an intention with when you're wanting to manifest something. Can you hear me, Shay?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I'm here.
Does anybody have any feedback in regards to setting sacred space and intention setting within the process?
Yeah, I really think, so much of manifesting is really kind of going back to the spiritual teachings of Neville Goddard. And I'm in the feeling of the wish fulfilled that it's already here. And it's really, and we're in such a heart time. We really need to connect to our hearts and get out of our heads, but in just feeling that connection to what we desire and knowing and feeling the joy around it and knowing that it's already arrived, because we have to believe it before we see it.
Yes, I love that. Any other discussion on intention setting and sacred space?
Well, being a Scorpio, I guess I can speak to that.
Yeah, please.
I feel like intention is everything. Before you do anything upon your grand rising, setting the intention for what kind of day you're going to have. That to me is manifestation, because the heart knows what you want. Is just collaborating with the mind, because for me, my mind in this realm where we're in right now can be very fast, so sometimes I can forget. So anchoring in through practices, setting the intention to get in my body every day, and through routines and mantras and just alignment every day, the consistency of setting the intention to set an intention. Right?
Yeah.
And so just to remind, because that's what's gonna, it's like, if you want to go somewhere, you have to have the map. And if you don't know the map, you don't have the map, and you can get lost and go down the back road, which that's fine too. You know, not all that are wander or lost. But I find with now time and space, as I'm getting closer to mortality, I want my time to be more efficient and well spent with the intention that my soul and my heart, my mind and my heart are aligned to experience. So to me, intention is paramount even before you eat a meal. Why are you eating it? Like, what are you feeding? Are you doing it to nurture? Everything's intention, everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like the more that we can embody that through our practices, through routines, through our mantras, through knowing, through maybe that's the mantras. I know what, you know, how I want to feel this certain way before I create my day. That's what's going to create the space for the day to unfold. So yeah, creating the sacred space with this container was paramount, because now we're like, we're going to set the container here to learn astrology, to learn about ourselves in a collaborative, cool, unique way. And this is how we're going to do it. So I feel like it wouldn't have been what it is without the container that you created.
Thank you. And we created that together, which is really cool. It can't just take one. It might have maybe one to start the idea, but it takes all of us together to bring it all together. You know what I mean? To really harness that energy, you know? And, you know, being a Scorpio myself, sacred space is really important for me. I know I get completely thrown off if I'm not cleansing my space all the time, or you know, like just making sure that things are picked up around so that I can have clarity in mind. And that allows me to go into the next step of Leo, of really identifying what's in my heart space. If I didn't have that, then that creativity can't come out. And so I'm kind of transition a little bit into the Leo energy. It's that love, the love you're talking about, being in that heart space. And does anybody want to say anything in regards to Leo energy?
Oh, I think I just share, it's sort of it's interesting that you're saying the heart space.
Yeah.
I was actually holding in my heart space the aspiration to be in a collective experience with other people co-creating for support for higher consciousness, you know, for the collective, for everyone. When you approached me with, you know, this potential opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I was thinking maybe I would be the person to pull the people together, and you were already doing that. And I thought, oh, this is so great and so easy. The universe has made it so easy, you know, to be part of something that was going to have an online, you know, element, because I feel like a lot of there's so much information happening that to kind of get, attention, doing something in a collective, you know, around a point of focus is a powerful way to do that. So, and then of course we've had interesting exchanges, expanding all of us, you know, through the interaction. So, you know, that's Mer.
Thank you, Kristen. Shay, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. First of all, hi, everybody. I am so sorry that I had not been able to participate as much as I wanted to. We did have some health things and stuff that came up. But I've been cheering you guys on and there in spirit, and you guys have done such a wonderful job. And Catriel, you have done so well at taking this idea and turning it into something tangible and co-creative. And I'm super proud of you. I just want you to know that. In terms of Scorpio and Leo, a lot of the practitioners, what you guys have been talking about is when you do eat clean and when you set your intention that you're cleaning your space and you're not only doing the physical hygiene, but the spiritual hygiene behind it, it preps you as a spiritual being having a human experience to be able to manifest that much easier. You're removing a lot of the obstacles that stop people that are not necessarily there yet in manifesting. They have to learn how to properly prep themselves as a channel for change. Now, with that, I think that there is a big thing in whether or not, you have spiritual maintenance, you have physical hygiene, but there's also the idea of whether or not you're acting purposeful every day, or if you're setting a goal. Are you going for a marathon or are you going for a sprint? Coming from a pagan perspective, I tend to do a lot of spell work. Spell work for me is in addition to, day-to-day practices, but that has a specific objective and a specific goal in mind. And going through this, I think transformation as a Scorpio is imperative that you start to plan meticulously, and Scorpios are very good at, leaving no stone unturned. Anything that you're doing, as soon as you start thinking about it, you're already adding energy to make that change possible.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shay. So it's really incredible to see that when we do set a sacred space and intention, and then we tune in with the heart, what we can truly manifest. And I want to transition a little into Cancer energy, because timing's everything with anything. And we have the cycles of the moon. One of the classes that we did was moonology, and it was incredible because you ever seen the Farmer's Almanac? I mean, we've been using this technology of the moon and the phases of the moon and tuning into our emotions, empaths, and how powerful that is when we become in tune with this planet and with the cycles of the moon and others, and because essentially it's just an aspect of source energy. And as we tune into that, there's a time and a place for everything. And when we start asking the questions, or what's here, what is right, and what is right now, what is right for me in this now moment, and also what do I also want to accomplish. And Cancer really goes down to the essence of the soul, I feel. I've been tuning into this Cancer energy, having a Cancer moon, as we're in a Cancer moon right now. It's like my internal Wolfie. It's like being able to sniff the energetics of what's going on, tuning in to the needs of self, the needs of others, all of that. And to do that in the way of manifestation is almost like having to tap into the essence of memory. And because things are going on all times, and to be able to tune in to exactly what you need at that moment is so important, especially as empaths, because we have so much going on all the time. I know today I felt super overwhelmed so many times. in so many different ways. But what's really beautiful is all of us, all our divine beautiful souls coming together and being there for each other, for the times of good, for the times of scary, for all of that. Does anyone want to say anything in regards to the Cancer energy and what's come up for them in their life?
think it's about, when we talk about cancer's water energy. And I think that this time is about flow. And it's letting go to let it flow, right? And so we go from the Leo to the Cancer energy, heart and soul, and really doing what we love and loving what we do. Okay. Example, he's making the most beautiful drinks, and he's got his place, and it's taking time and patience, but he loves it. It's clear you love what you do. You love it. You're there, you're present there, and you're holding true to your dream, right? And I really feel like that's what we gotta do, is hold true to those dreams. If they're, because they're right here, right now. And source energy wants us to have everything and more, right? So I just think it's such a heart and soul journey right now.
Heart and soul celebration. I love it. You know, and that's the essence, like, is really tuning into those beginning steps, because they're part of, what was that?
Speaker
That's weird.
just turned on.
I don't think those have been used for years.
Subtle background noise.
It-
What are you
Your dad just fixed them.
Oh,
What
okay.
song is this
Oh.
playing?
I don't know, but I think he thinks we don't hear it.
It's very subtle. It's
can
kind of in the
you- yeah, thank
background. If you
you.
just keep talking, you probably can barely hear it.
Sorry, very
Oh, yeah.
distracting. But that's okay. No, I
It's
just
funny.
like,
It's a lot of simulation.
yeah, lot during a Mercury retrograde, nonetheless.
Makes sense that that would happen.
So yeah,
Perfect. It's happened for a reason.
so maybe our ancestors
Cancers
were
are-
speaking to us.
Are nurturing. They're said to be the most soft of all the zodiac signs. They're deep like the ocean, and cancers come from the heart, just like Leo, and they're nurturers and moon energy, and they're, can be very wholesome, good, loyal friends. At the same time, they can also be Cancer. They're Cancer. There's always the opposite side of the spectrum of every zodiac. So that's what I keep in mind when you're Cancer. They're sweet, and they can be the most kind of genuine, good, cutesy, good people. Like they're like kids, but then they can be like cancers, where they're just like, oh God, in relationships, and they're nasty or whatever. But that's what I've encountered with them.
Oh man. It reminds me, because like we have all of these different energies within us, and it shows us like, okay, whoa, what's coming up for me in this now moment? Because I know
For me.
the water. Are
Yeah.
you okay?
I want you to help me.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Center stage. Make it human.
Typical Larry.
Thank you, Leo.
We'll wait for you. It's okay.
Hey guys. Oh, they. So let's go into Sagittarius for a moment, because we go from this heart and soul after setting the sacred space into our belief systems and our traditions. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, which is, I have like a nickname for Jupiter, God's sense of humor. Like you go out there and you just see the signs very much so in your face in the most laughable way, because Jupiter's all about expansion. And so that being said, with the belief system, is, do we believe in what we're doing? Do we believe in what we're wanting to manifest? Like, how much is that for us, like, and when we, sometimes we can lack that faith or that belief in ourselves, because some old programming. But that's when we have to be conscious of it, so it can come up, and so we can shift it, change the story. Sag is a very good storyteller, is it not? And what's interesting is, like, Sagittarius is also about the different cultures and religious faiths and things like that. And right now, right here, right now, we're actually making history, you know, because if we look at it from what we're doing, I mean, we have all different faiths going on right now, and we're doing something like through the Zodiac Energy Empowerment series, but we're ditching any like religious, dogma to the side and saying we have a goal here because it's for the value of this planet, for the value of each individual soul. No matter what's going on in the world, we're coming together. And so we're shifting this story. And we're creating a new story that's really freaking beautiful. At least from my perspective, this is awesome. Anything on Sagittarius?
I love how you said that we're shifting the story. Because one thing, like on the flip side of what you're talking about Sagittarius and its positive qualities,
Yeah.
Sagittarius energy is also like the zealot and somebody who's like fastened, rigid about their beliefs and like want to tell everybody how something is, and that's where we can be rigid
Yeah.
with our belief systems, and those can hold us back. So I like where you're going with that, changing the story, because like in the poison is the medicine. So like, that flip side is there. So I think that's an important thing to know, that we have a lot of stuff in our heads from culture and it's not always beneficial. And so like going to that playful side of exploration with Sag energy and expansion. What else is there? What don't I know that I don't know? What more is there for me to know about this? I'm like being open to that. And that exploration is the funnest part about Sag, like energy. I love Sag energy and the adventure of it. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to travel
Yeah.
to the cosmos and be open to something new and fresh.
Yeah.
There's like there's a very fun conversation, I think, because there's a very unique theme of duality that I think everyone's touching on. Whereas, every zodiac does have its shadow as well. And I'm a moon Sagittarius. So, getting into the moon qualities, it's really interesting because I see myself a little more as Sagittarius, whereas the world sees me more as what my sun sign is, which is Libra. I've had very tumultuous relationships with Sagittarius. I have had very beautiful relationships with Sagittarius. And a lot of those things brings me back to those qualities within myself as well, that oftentimes serve as mirrors. There's a quote that I heard recently that was really felt a lot of Sagittarius energy in it. It was in regards to things that we've been through in our past that have molded us to today. They may have been our dark night of the souls, and everyone has them. They all look different for everybody, but it's along the lines of those may think that I got through my dark times because I was the light, where in reality it was because I could see in the dark, because of a lot of the pains that we go through within our lives. But being able to alchemize those things, whether, for me, it's through movement, being able to alchemize emotion through the movement of our physical bodies, but also the movement of the energy within us, breaking up the fascia that holds trauma within us. And, we opened up this panel by talking about intention. And absolutely, I think no matter what side you may be focused on, if it is the shadow side or the more light qualities of any sign, it takes a certain level of discipline and practicing with a purpose, whatever. And we all have our different practices, and all of them are legitimate practices because they're helping us attain that level of security within ourselves also. And part of that is knowing those darker sides as well. And being able to balance those things for the betterment of not only ourselves, but the people we love the most.
I love that. Thank you. Chris, did you want to add?
Yeah, I don't know, just something with Sagittarius that they are great for expansion, you know, like I'm an earth sign, I'm a Virgo, and like I have a good Sagittarius friend. She's just so sparkly and flamboyant in her energy and so courageous about it. It's an energy that if you kind of get aligned with can open doors and help with manifesting more. You know, like say I have a business and I'm doing all the behind the scenes and the nut bolts and scenes. Sometimes Virgos can have a little bit of a little bit of anxiety of things. They kind of want to be behind the scenes doing all the things that are necessary. So, you know, a Sagittarius comes in, it's like such a different type of energy that it can help with like moving it out forward because they're just so extroverted and sparkly and fiery. So it's you know, having a friend of any different zodiac sign has a different payoff. But I do notice that Sagittarius are probably the best for like popping open like new stuff happening and helping expand open because they can sometimes in particular like flamboyant and sparkly and just have this pizzazz. So I don't aligning with that can help with like, you know, bringing about a new level of something.
Yeah.
And vice versa for Sagittarius, if they have like you know, an earth sign friend, it can really help them with the practical nuts and bolts of something because they're more just about the creation and the energy. They need practical help with creating something from a realistic standpoint. So there's always like an exchange with who you align with, but Sagittarius are excellent with helping just like the next level happening. You know, that kind of stuff.
Love that. Yeah, so then we go from that Sagittarius energy of that fiery, and what's unique is it's immutable. Like you're talking about, you know, can be really rigid in certain things, but it's also a mutable sign, which is interesting. So we can really start shifting that, and we move into the Aquarius. And Aquarius is is all about, you know, shifting our frequency, shaking shift up, like truly. And that's getting outside our comfort zones. That's trying something new, experimenting, and seeing where it goes. They're also the humanitarians, head of groups and organizations. I mean, this series is pretty Aquarian. And we actually have our online practitioner, Kristen, for Aquarius. And now, since we're heading into the actual practitioners, I'm going to focus it a little bit more. You taught Theism during our online course. Can you share your experience of the Aquarian energy with the concept of Theism, and if you want to explain what Theism is?
Sure. So the overarching idea is that, you know, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And just because of the way culture has unfolded, you know, in our time space and our particular lifetimes, there's been probably more focus on the physical level and the outer appearance, you know, of reality rather than the energy or the chi force presence. You know, we those of us in this group, of course, we are the outliers, you know, in the standard deviation. And so we're into the stuff that the unseen, but and to a large extent, many people are just now coming to a place, you know, even, you know, since we've had the Rona reboot, a lot of people have reevaluated, you know, what their priorities are, and they're starting to turn within. So the Theism is a way for people to, you know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me, through their own personal self-actualization, you know, through their own sovereignty within their own lives, that they can focus on the different aspects of their being and grow in awareness in those aspects. So it's the way I set the system up, it's B for body, which includes where you live and your money, E for your emotional life, I for your intellectual life, S for your spirit soul journey, and M for mastermind or your connection with your higher power. And through being able to, it's almost like a paradox, through really being responsible for, you know, this part here, our own mind and our own body and our own soul journey and our own connection to all that is, we can transcend the time, space, location a little bit. It's not like, oh, I'm Kristen from Clearwater, Florida with red hair, you know, who's 60 years old. No, I am, you know, this energy entity that's incarnated in this particular time space, having these particular experiences. And I just feel like my aspiration for the Beism is not just for it to be used as a tool for individuals, but to say, hey, you know, let's look at how really and truly all the human beings here on the planet are sharing these same exact areas of life. And, you know, although, you know, somebody might be on the other side of the world or have grown up in a different culture or speaks a different language, these elements of who we are as human beings are the same. And we are, you know, we're living on one small planet now with a certain amount of resources, and everyone could be completely abundant with all of their basics if we were to, you know, shift into a consciousness where we said, hey, you know, we're all one family, we're all one, you know, species here. And we have both the aspirative ability with holding something in consciousness, as well as the resources to enhance the quality of life for everyone here.
Thank you, Kristen.
So that's my Aquarian dream.
Yes.
Dream.
Oh man.
I share that dream.
Oh. And so with that Aquarius, does anyone want to add to that Aquarian dream? No? Okay.
I will.
Okay.
Well, you know, I've been really deep diving into Pluto going into Aquarius, which has never been seen before in any of our lifetimes. It's a long transit, 240-year transit. And it's going to go back into Capricorn September, a little bit to November. And then it's going to go full throttle for another 20 years. So it's an interesting, Pluto is our power. Think of like plutonium power, right? It's scorpionic. So it can either light up a city or it can be like Hiroshima. Right? So we talk about the light and the shadow. And it's just power. Power is a neutral force. But through Aquarius, it's how we use it. So Aquarius can be very individualistic. It can be very much of technology and inventiveness and communities and group consciousness. But then the shadow can very much be like a hive mind mentality, where I think of, if anybody's ever watched Star Trek, like the Borg, right? That we are Borg, right? So just being able to hold the light and the shadow, again, with all the signs, and realizing that Pluto or plutonium power is in the sign now. And I wanted to also, if anybody's watching, and for you guys here in the panel, you probably already know, but if you don't, I'd like to point out a transit that's happening, that this particular Jupiter and Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is only together every 14 years. And it hasn't been together in Taurus for 80 years. So we'll never see this transit again in our lifetime too. So this is happening on 420. 420. And so 420 is a big day, right? It's Consciousness Day. But we've got Sagittarius, Jupiter, which rules Sagittarius, and we've talked about some of the concepts of Sagittarius, right next to Uranus, which is unexpected change. It's like flashing lights of aha moments. And of course, Jupiter's expansion, right? So in Taurus, it's the body, it's our money, it's our values, it's how we exchange energy. And so I would say just to be aware that we are all getting ready to shift consciousness in a big way, Jupiter. And so right now, while these things are collapsing and changing, Uranus, it's going to be based on what we do in community grassroots movement. It's about smaller collaborations, about really getting along and doing things differently. So the top-down structures that we've experienced in power and governing systems, even in our monetary systems, our values, all that shifting, and it's changing based on our vibration and our frequency, which is very much Uranus too, right? Because it's all about our electrical currents. We're bioelectrical beings, and that's the electric part of us. So just bringing awareness that with it being in Pluto, Aquarius, and then this conjunction happening on 420, this is a signifier that we've never been here before in consciousness, but we've come in, we've chosen, I believe that we've chosen our incarnations through our birth charts. And so we've chosen to be here. And the choice point is, are we going to do what we've been doing and bring that into the new, or do we have to do something different? It's a choice point. And I feel like we're all going to have to be doing something different, because what happened in the past is no longer sustainable, or else we'd still be doing it. So it's a forced change, but it's a forced change of evolution, which is, we've called this in. And so right now, real time, staying present with our energy, with you know, our intention, how we show up in the world, our beliefs, using that filtration system is like, and I talk about Sagittarius, I'm here to learn Sag, right? I've got a lot of Sag in my chart. I call it like emptying my cup out every day. Just because I believed that yesterday may not make that relevant today. And it's a day by day, moment by moment choice point. So I just wanted to bring that as the owls. Thank you, owls, my one of my totem animals. So yeah, I got a little Sag preachy there, but that's okay. I love the regard.
I'd like to say something about Aquarius.
Yep. On the other end.
Well, I love how you pointed out that it's about individuality, and yet it's a sign of the humanitarian, right? And so, like, I think really honoring humanity is honoring our diversity, and how that's really perfect, and how it fits together perfectly, like a puzzle. So another thing that was coming to me was that Aquarius is the water bearer, and for some reason, like, Spirit put on my consciousness just to mention that, because I think that's like, there's something really special about that, and something really profound about water and about who we are as water. That's going to be really, I'm like getting goosebumps right now. It's really going to come to the fore in our conscious awareness, how we treat our water, our water, how we interact with water, what water can do, like what are the properties really of water. And you were talking about soul and Cancer, and yeah, there's something really special happening with human beings and our understanding about water, and how that really connects us all as well. And so yeah, talk to your water in a good way.
Yes.
And then hold that intention for your, like you were talking about, like just holding that, like that knowing for all of us that there is a new way, there's a better way and a new way, and it's absolutely possible. And that our water can hold that memory and transmit that, because water is the reflective thing too. So when we meet with each other, our waters are communicating.
Yes.
So I had that to say.
I love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's actually interesting. I've been collecting water from all over the world, because I do feel like it is the key of how we move forward on this planet. We like with programming our water and also tuning into the natural resources, and how when, like you said, communicating to our water, all those elements coming together as one, we're boosting our frequency. Water bearer. And you know, like, we are the water bearer, you know? And so like that, it's through our electrical current, we are like literally shifting everything, and how much power we have because we are connected to source. And so, and that's coming through of like our next step here, which is Gemini, which is clearly communicating with intention, our thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas. And that means, you know, being able to be compassionate to one another, and compassionate to ourselves within the process. I mean, how often, I will say, I did not do a great job this last 24 to 48 hours in regards to self-talk. You know, I can straight up say that, you know, Dana knows. But I'm having awareness of that right now. And because in order to shift that, we have to have that awareness. And it's okay. Like we tend to over and over and over experience life to remember. And we need each other for that. And Gemini being the communicator, we need each other. We can not do this without. And so, you know, like we had a beautiful class with Carrie Wisdom online for Gemini, and also with Nettle, who did the improv through storytelling and sound, which was really unique because one was a little bit more on the serious side of being able to go through the psychological you know, processes of communication, compassionate communication. And the other one was a bit more fun and being able to really harmonize in a way with each other through communication, through improv. And, you know, again, Gemini being a mutable sign, it, you know, it has that flexibility, you know, that mutability. And so sometimes we have to, like, I don't know, shift our perspective from that fixed mindset to that mutable. And anyone want to say anything in regards to Gemini?
I just find this funny that we're on Gemini and everybody was
Speechless.
it was ironic. So I had
Okay.
to speak to it.
It's okay, it's Mercury retrograde. We're having that inner dialogue right now. Anybody on this side?
Let's talk. Gemini, they have no problem with just talk.
I think that, you know, we have to speak our truth. And right now we're stepping into a time where if you are not walking your walk, you are not walking your authentic self, then on the 20th, the 2x4 from the universe is going to come down and say, okay, it is time for you to wake up.
Yeah.
And I really believe that, I know in my own life that, and in everybody's life, that we have a catalyst that just, whether it be illness, whether it be a relationship breaking up, a job loss, whatever it may be. But that's the waking up point where they say you have got to do something different and speak and walk your truth. And it's really not caring about the opinions of others. Walk your walk. And it doesn't matter. Who cares if you're weird? It doesn't matter, because those that are coming from a place of unconditional love, and those that are coming from a judgment-free zone are going to go, wow, that's really cool. That's really beautiful.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I can say something about the duplicitousness of Gemini energy. And so like that is that when you're divided and you're not speaking your truth, or like you're saying all the right things but you're out of integrity, that's a thing. And I think that in this age and this epoch that we're in right now, discernment is like such a huge key. And it's been like a lesson personally for me over and over of discerning energies, especially because we have this language which can be used to lie. And so people lie a lot. And that's like, whoa, because like I'm not coming from that place, so I don't suspect it. And it's always like a 2x4 for me. So that's something interesting to know on Gemini and Gemini energy and communication and media, because like media is also like medium. And I think that there's spiritual energies around us all the time interacting with us, and there are lower forces and higher forces both wanting to align with us. And we can choose and make the choice. And some people are choosing to align with some lower energies or even higher energies that are way too far to the Luciferic bent, and it's a false light
Mhm.
kind of energy. So that's something just to note.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think that, I think TikTok, I resisted getting on TikTok. And now I'm on there regularly doing lives, and I understand now why the government wants to shut it down and not to bring politics, but it's because the truth is there. We're seeing things, people in Israel doing live streams on their phone, and we're really seeing what's going on in the war zone. We're not getting the story from the news. So we're seeing the truth. And so that's what I really love about where we are on this planet right now, is that truth is coming forward.
It's out there, and like it's just like discerning the truth from the lie, because a lot of, even in alternative media, there's like that lie, and so many spiritual, like there's a lot of charlatan energy, so many spiritual quote people that aren't walking in their integrity, and they may have amazing gifts and they may speak a lot of truth, and yet there's danger there because it's not all in integrity. And I just, that Gemini I thought is a good time to talk about that, or a good energy to talk about that with. And I like how we're sort of keeping it balanced. So it's like, okay, there's this negative side to things and this more positive side to things. I think it's really important that we keep a balance.
That is a perfect segue for our next energy.
All right, and into Libra.
And on to Libra, which is the energy of I balance, I harmonize, and I allow myself to receive. Because Libra is connected to Venus. And Venus is this like magnetic energy. I don't know if you've ever heard the planets play out through sound, but it actually sounds like a magnet. Mars, ironically, sounds like a war, like literally like a warrior with the drums and everything. You can actually go onto YouTube and find out like these different sounds, which is absolutely incredible. But this Venus energy is magnetic, and we have technically two zodiac energies that connect with that, with that Venus energy. But first is the Libra, that from the air perspective. And it's really uniting the heart and the mind. And so, like, for instance, when we do this thing, maybe you guys can demonstrate it so that as well, of the hemisync. You just take your hands and bring it in. And it takes both the heart and the mind and connects them together, both sides of the brain. And I don't know, the moment I do this, I should remember to do this a little bit more. I'm going to keep that in my mind. Brings a state of calmness to your being, your nervous system. And so what we experienced through the Libra energy was, one, we did a relationship class online, but we also did a class with Ray that had to do with writing songs and poetry, which is the beauty of Venus, the beauty of Libra, allowing ourselves to receive that. When we're writing a song or a poem, there has to be, there's something that it's addressed to, there's a purpose and intention for us writing whatever we're writing, that song, let's say. Is it a personal message? Is it a message that's for the world? Is it a message to our creator, to another being? Like, Libra's all about that relationship. And so I would love to hand it over to you, Ray, and your experience with this class and how that really helped the Libra energy shine.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how you mentioned the intention bit, because that I sort of set up the songwriting part just to start off with intention, and the way that I thought of relationship and understanding intention was through relationship with spiritual forces, and that there's always, we are not alone here. there's always beings with us. Our guides, our ancestors, angels, and there are also other beings in the astral plane. There's beings in the higher astral and lower astral, and we're interacting all the time with all these different energies. So I like to just sort of let people know that, and then sort of tune in and ask, like, what is with me right now? You know, what is with me? And so, because what is with you wants to be expressed. These energies want expression, and we are a vehicle through which they can express, and we co-create together to express. And that's how we anchor higher energies on the earth. You know, we have help and guidance. We're not here alone, just creating what we want. We're here to create what God wants and what the heavens want and the archangels and those higher beings that are guiding the evolution of humanity. So tuning in to that intention, I think, is important. Tuning in to what is the intention, and not just selfishly, self-only focused, creating something and trying to manifest something that you want. So that was like my version of an intention. And then I asked people to tune into their bodies to find that intention. And you know, because Venus is very much about the senses and pleasure and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, what do you feel? You know, what do you feel internally as an internal felt sense? But also, what is maybe, you know, feeling of on your skin? Can you feel like the wind blowing? Like when you think of this thing that's with you, this energy that's with you, you know, what do you smell? What do you taste? What do you see? What can you hear? And so that was really fun, tuning into that. And basically, I went on to mention the waters, and that through the power of song and through the power of using our voice, that's how we're creating and shifting reality. That this is our manifesting tool. And because like in the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and then, you know, God moved across the face of the waters. So like, and that's what we were talking about the water and how important that is. So like what we say and what we're expressing is so vital, and we have the power to shift this world through what we're expressing with our voice, and also any kind of sound. So that's where the music comes in as well. And so like I feel like we have a responsibility, but it's also, you know, an opportunity, if you want to look at it that way, to create the world that we want, and partially through sound and I think being in balance with our heart and mind, like you were saying, is how we can do that in a good way, and do it well.
Well, thank you. Speaking of that, I don't know why, but I'm just gonna go with it. I think it would be really cool right now, if you're open to it, to just sing a note. Sing a note that's on your heart right now in regards to harmony. Like, really harmonizing together.
You guys want to ohm together? Let's do two more.
On this last one,
Yeah.
imagine this universe in harmony with each other.
Love it.
Ooh. Thank you guys. for doing that experiment with me.
That was really beautiful.
Let me share one thing about Libra and balance and beauty. And we just left off of Gemini is that beauty is truth. You know, look to nature. If you're having a hard time discerning what truth is, follow beauty. Call it, you know, path of the beauty way, which is very Libra. So if it's beautiful and it makes you feel harmonized when you hear something, that's how I've filtered what truth is. And if it doesn't feel beautiful or it creates a distortion in my body, then that's like something to pain. His language is spell casting, and we're spelling all the time, the forked tongue, and there's actually negative spelling in the language, which is something we created to overcome, because all is self, right? So we are the ultimate tricksters in that way. So if you want, this was just coming through really strong, to discern truth, follow beauty, and that will always be truth. That's Libra.
I love that. Thank you. And then with that Libra energy, we move into Pisces, another mutable. I don't know why I keep mentioning all the mutables, not all the other ones. But Pisces is about feeling compassion. It's about faith. It's about understanding. And, you know, well, we had 2 classes, one with Alasa, which we're all familiar with mostly. Which, you know, many of us went through soul school, and, you know, tapping into almost the planetary within ourselves, within all of the different lives, future, past, again, matter of perspective, because they're all happening at one time. But it's really tuning in to this very etheric space. And of course, with Pisces, it can come, we just left, you know, like we're transitioning out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. You know, a lot of stuff, you know, came up in regards to sacrifice. So there's, of course, different sides to the coin. And it's now part of the journey, at least for myself, to look at where maybe I have sacrificed and start to like heal that thought process of that, and tuning into the spiritual service. Feeling very floaty right now. Went a little too high.
Very Piscean.
Right?
Nebulous.
Exactly. I'm like, I feel Alasa there, like, woo.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to say anything in regards to Pisces energy?
Pisces is the polar opposite of my sign, Virgo.
Yeah.
I have a Pisces sister, and I could see the differences, you know, much more dreamy driven, you know, emotion, kind of elusive of the thought process, you know, very, you know, creative, you know, compassionate, but can be the sinner and the saint at the same time. They can be compassionate, but also have a dark side, which is affiliated with the sign. Deep-minded, you know, wacky, kind of weird sometimes, you know, they sometimes like kind of always like to be buzzed on something, you know, whether it's pot or whatever, alcohol and stuff, it is affiliated with them. They like to be dreamy, like to be in their dream world sometimes. Sometimes their way of being creative and stuff, which is kind of fun. But yeah, Pisces is great. You know, it can be very magical, very telepathic and gifted and multi-gifted. Sometimes they need a little bit of help with regulation because they're so abstract. Sometimes having a good backbone to them in life can be good support. Someone who kind of keeps them focused and keeps them out of trouble and is there, you know, as a rock for Pisces, but known for being deep, unique, mystical, kind of elusive creatures. And it's like I said, it's the opposite of my sign. So I notice sometimes when I'm interacting with the Pisces, I can see the very difference, and there can be a balance there. And with any sign, if you're around your polar opposite, even just being in their presence, their aura, you get kind of a balancing effect. It's very evident, me, being an empath, whatever. Like there's this one Pisces guy who's just so kind of quirky and weird, and as a poet and stuff. And when I talk to him, you can tell when he's talking to me, like the verb is like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they need that like grounding, that practicality sometimes, but they can be kind of magical, pretty magical people. Yeah.
I think a lot of my like admonitions today, is that the right word? Yeah. Are around me like struggling with my like intense Pisces nature. Because I have a Pisces moon and my Mars is also in Pisces.
Oh.
So they're conjunct in Pisces. And and a lot of the reason why the substance use is because like the compassion is so overwhelming sometimes, or like compassion, empathy, or like you just feel everything and you're deeply impacted by things. And this world can be a pretty cool place. So like that's why I'll turn to substances most of the time. When I was younger, it was a little bit more of like I wanted to go out of my, and explore and all that. But yeah, any kind of addictive behavior, a lot of the time it can be from that. But Pisces is so amazing because that's like an angelic energy. It's really the type of love that a Piscean love is unconditional for everyone. It's very deep.
Well done.
So love.
Feel like that bee,
Yeah.
that honeybee was a
Yeah.
Pisces.
I
Well,
want to say something about Pisces
Yeah.
because my dad was a Pisces, and we have this crazy deep relationship. He's been off the planet for like over 10 years, and we really still commune. He visited me a lot after his death, and he came to me in a dream, and he gave me so much love in this hug, that in this dream, once he was on the other side. And we still have a lot of dialogue and connection. I feel like we were also together in prior lifetimes. But on this earth, yeah, he could be perplexing because like when I was little, my mom had no washer and dryer at home. She's taking laundry to the laundromat, and he was building an airplane in the garage. Or later on, yeah. Or later, one year, my dad wanted my child to have the experience of flying in a small plane. So my dad hired someone to come and pick us up and fly us from Clearwater across the state to where he lived. And then he put us on a bus to go home. With a small child, that wasn't exactly a picnic, but that's just sort of, because when you would go, it's like that dreamy part, like he spent all the money on the, hiring the pilot, and then he wanted to be inexpensive for us to go home. So, that was, yeah. And so that was like, I got a lot of that in my life. And, I had like amazing adventures with my dad. We climbed mountains, we climbed pyramids. He had a big sailboat that we sailed on, a lot of like really exciting adventures. Because he lived a lot of those dreams, they didn't just stay in dream world. They happened. And I don't know his whole chart, but I'm a Virgo and he's a Pisces, and we definitely had a very, close, relationship, that Virgo Pisces balance thing. And I'm glad that for that dreamer part, because my mother's a Capricorn, so we'll save that till later.
Well, that's funny. You should mention Capricorn because that is our next step. And I think I want to bridge a gap here a little bit from going from Pisces to Capricorn. It's like we have to be able to dream it, There's got to be some inner exploration that happens before we actually make decisions when we manifest something. And so, like, now we go from this very floaty Pisces energy, and like we then take this Neptunian / Jupiter energy and we channel it, and now we're in Saturn, which is all restriction, time, management, CEO kind of energy, but it's the grounder. It's the setting of the foundation. We had to dream big so that we can remember that we still need to work hard. We still need to put in the work. We still need to be, doing things, laying the foundation. And then we start to see, because this, like in this model, it's the first time out of all that we've talked about thus far that an earth sign comes into the mix. All of that before was water, fire, and air. And now we're at earth. It's starting to ground in. And that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And so that's when we start to actually see, like, when we're wanting to manifest something, like some actual decisions we have to make in this process. And so it's that I decide, I commit, and I build that foundation. And I want to say this, since we're actually on this deck right now. This deck was built in the week of Capricorn.
Oh my goodness.
I laughed my butt off when I found out that this was being built, and because we wouldn't be doing this at this exact moment if it was the old deck. It was falling apart. But I had faith in Pisces that this was going to happen and manifest. I just knew it. And so it was just beautiful to watch this process. I'm gonna take us. Oh, I'm gonna say one other thing about Capricorn really quickly. So we had, for what did we do for Capricorn? It just goat yoga. Duh.
Yoga.
We did goat yoga, and we're still we still have another class that we're gonna have to make up, and it's connected to special love, which is crap, I just lost my thought. To raise money for kids with cancer. And so this is going to be Elisa's class with Jeremy in regards to really dialing into the CEO of our own life, because we need to learn to make decisions, and like those practices that we do, and formulate it all together, and these skills that Elisa and Jeremy have, unbelievable. This, and so I'm really excited that when we get that on the books again, kind of very similar to Shay, there's a lot of sickness stuff going on, but all in divine time,
Mhm.
But that's funny, divine timing with Capricorn. But then we move into Aries energy. And we have both of our practitioners for Aries. And Julio, let's do you first. How was Aries? I take inspired action, this Mars-like energy captured in Steel Makes Flow for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Steel Makes Flow is an interesting modality because what we're talking about with intention, there's having a purpose and building out a story or an emotion oftentimes will take my range of movement and into a different space that maybe I've never been before. So being able to focus on the Aries characteristics was really fun, actually. Particularly with the archetypes of the warrior, the child, leader. I don't recall the fourth one, but being able to go through those characteristics allowed me to attach a specific movement to the experiences I've had with each of those archetypes. So, the warrior, for instance, obviously Aries is, synonymous with war in a sense. There's a lot of the conversations I've had in Catriel where we ended up talking about The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and all of the wisdom that comes with those teachings as well. There's one quote that just kept staying in my mind is in relation to chaos, and how within chaos there also is opportunity. And that may look different for everybody. And we experience chaos quite a bit, but what a warrior does is they're able to still take their knowledge of whether it's maybe defensive or offensive nature, but still be beautiful and elegant. It's still very necessary for a warrior to be elegant within their practice, especially a good warrior, right? And through Steel Mace Flow, it's ironic because the mace itself is based off of a gata, which is a ancient weapon, the bludgeoning tool, which is interesting. Taking a steel mace it's not so much a weapon that's being used on an external battlefield anymore, but the internal battlefield within, and being that warrior within my own life. How can that show up? And oftentimes I found it very, obviously our Aries has that energy as well, but then it's also just as powerful for the child, the innocence, and the being able to speak with my own inner child has been a massive part of my practices with Steel Mace Flow, because ultimately, yes, it's a physical act. It's really great for the body and a breakup of fascia release as well, but it also allows me to play. Also still playing. Where when I used to go to the gym, which is nothing wrong with going to a gym, of course. If there's intention with, ultimately all of our intention, if we're doing anything physical, is to make ourselves feel better, right? But to be able to do that within the guidelines of a Steel Mace Flow, and being able to focus on the specific zodiac. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm a Libra, so that is essentially the opposite of an Aries, but also finding that Aries within myself still, because there's a Sanskrit term called says tatvamasi, is I am that too. And oftentimes our triggers are very often related to a part of ourselves that needs healing as well. At least I found that in my experience. So being able to focus on this Aries energy, with how I've experienced those energies and those characteristics in my own life was very, very powerful experience. So yeah, I've said it a lot, but thank you, because even being able to go into that space was not something I'd probably do if it wasn't for this.
Thank you, Julio. Like, it was an absolutely incredible class to be able to tap in. I did martial arts when I was a kid, always wanted to go back, and it allowed me the time and the space to be able to explore kind of a similar modality, but through zodiac energy, specifically Aries, and it was just perfect. And with our other class in person, Chris, we had an awesome class at All Five Elements, the game competition night, which was awesome. What did you get out of that? Like, being able to do all of what we did with the games and stuff like that. Just curious.
I kind of had some stuff I was just gonna say about Aries and stuff, but
Yeah,
that would touched on like the playfulness of the Aries, of the childlike, aspect of the Aries, with the games and having fun and really having full on childlike fun, like not muffled by adult, conditioning or whatever. An Aries can just be like, I'm having fun. I'm a kid. I'm gonna buy that action figure. I don't care if I'm 45 years old. I'm gonna have fun, and I'm like a kid, and I'm happy, and I'm having fun to the full extent. I have an Aries moon sign, so I'm trying to kind of channel it a little bit, but like it's like you're still acting with the same amount of, emotional happiness that you would when you were still a kid, and you're like really living life to the fullest, but Aries is cool, of the three fire signs. Aries is like the righteous one of the three fire signs, I would say. You know, Leo's the royal one. Sagittarius is the flamboyant one. Aries is more of like the righteous one, the warrior. You know, like if there's like a brigade of people holding shield, the Aries guy would like fucking run out in there and jump up and say, "Let's go!" You know, like they're kind of like the initiator, the courageous, high energy initiator. But I've also noticed Aries can be quite intelligent too and come to realizations fast. Like it'll just come like the decision is, okay, this is it, let's do it. It's based on instinct. It's not like, oh, let's overthink it a million times, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Aries like, well, that's the right decision, go for it. And I've noticed having Aries moon sign a lot of time, that's the case with me. And a lot of time it's the right decision. And then I'll have a person like, oh no, but it's like, no, it's that one. And I can just tell it's that one, you know, and I'm right a lot of the time. And I think we should all learn to trust our instincts a little bit more sometimes, and sometimes acting right off what you know, right off the bat is the best decision instead of overthinking and anxiety. But yeah, Aries are awesome. I like Aries. I don't know what everyone's doing with different stuff, but Aries can be funny and high energy and like woohoo, the you know, in the action. They like to be in the action, you know, not just sitting behind the high scenes. Like one of my favorite guitar players, his name's Alexi Leho. He was a epic metal guitar player, lead singer, lead guitar player, and he was so high energy and epic that it was just like fucking awesome. Aries, you know, let's be real and get right to the point and go on an adventure type stuff. So yeah, but the games are fun. I need to have them fun. You know, it's I wish it would come out more. There's an imbalance, you know, with being sometimes too Virgo of practical. Oh, I gotta save my mind, whatever. Like, you know, I need to be more fun and have fun and be happy. It'd be great.
Amen.
Very fun.
I love it. Hey, that's what's coming your way.
We're gonna lose.
I'm calling Archangel Michael. We have many doing right. Anyways, uh, moving to Taurus, which is, you know, the flip side. Well, it's a sign, it's an energy that's connected with Venus and Earth, in my opinion. And so you have that beauty to the Venus, and but it's grounding with Taurus energy, and it's all about I birth my manifestation. And so I want to allow our practitioner online, Lisa Bromfield, to kind of expand on how did Taurus, like teaching that class, how did that really connect and widen our view of Taurus energy?
Yeah, it was a really interesting class. You know, we talked about the tree of life. We talked about a lot about gratitude. And really that's our grounding energy, because when you are appreciative and when you are grateful, you are in receiving mode. And a lot of us don't receive. I know in my life that's a big block for a lot of us. Well, we give, but we forget to receive. So we get into this place of grounding ourselves, and Mother Nature, there's no other better place to do it. And you know, where I walk 5 miles in nature a day, you know, the tree energy speaks to me. So as we ground ourselves with Mother, and you know, it is about the planet right now. We energetically are all coming together because we've got to save this planet. And so through gratitude, through oneness, through this oneness energy, through meditation that I took people through in the group, and reconnecting not only to nature and our roots connected to Mother Nature, but connected to ourselves.
All right. That Earth heart heal, which, wow, I love that. And we have we have oh yeah, thank you, that's perfect, you read my mind. We have Melody, who is our practitioner for Taurus in person, the conscious cooking class. We did this at a really cool space, Phantom History House, had a little spooky experience, which was awesome, but got to really go into like the conscious cooking aspect of Taurus. Like, I don't know what Taurus does not like food. Just saying. Taurus energy is definitely foodie energy. But look at David. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But when you like were preparing for Taurus and then actually got to do Taurus class, how did that widen your vision of Taurus energy?
I would say I was simultaneously setting up my mushroom grow room to grow my gourmet mushrooms and all of that stuff. So it really played in together with the fears and concerns of like, what the hell am I gonna do with this cooking class? And creating space for it and all of that. It all just blended so seamlessly into what I wanted to manifest and making the space for it. And also I mean, it's challenging for me to charge anything for food because I just want to feed people and make them happy. So like receive money for feeding people, it doesn't seem right. But it I don't know, it just easily melded together. I didn't even know what Taurus was really all about. I just have a Taurus brother. So that helped. But I mean, I really didn't understand it until you were like, well, you gotta create the space. You gotta do all these things, all these elements, which I was already doing with the, so it worked out in what I was doing in IRL and in the cooking class. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, it was really beautiful because I got to see like the entirety of how it all played out. Like, how she was literally like, I want to do this. I'm setting the sacred space. And like one of the intentions, I remember you saying that I'm gonna have mushrooms by my cooking class. And to be able to take what she actually set the sacred space for to grow and have that manifestation on the kitchen table, that was incredible. That is Taurus through and through. Like, you can't get any more Taurus than that. And so, it was just, that was one of the most beautiful classes. And again, saying, the Venus aspect, the beauty, we really brought that beauty out through like the energy of combining together and the food, which we've got to feel today, I will say.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible meal. I hope you have more.
I want to say something too
Yeah.
about being like in the receiving zone. Okay, I wasn't there for the whole prep and all the steps and all like that, but I got to see those mushrooms, okay, that you grew. And I feel like gratified just imagining looking at those mushrooms, because there was something really energetically tangible, like, all of the intention that you put into those mushrooms. It's like, I'm Spidey, and I could feel all that energy in the mushrooms, and, it's like they had, almost not an actual visual auric field, but definitely more energy than like a mushroom that wasn't,
But you get free slice.
intentional, right,
Right.
right, and not a non-intentionally cultivated mushroom.
Yeah.
So that's how we can really see, like, it's almost for me a perceptible understanding of what Taurus is through how I felt looking at those mushrooms. Yeah.
That's lovely.
Thank you. Wow. And then we take that manifestation, right? And we grow it into an embodiment to our fullest potential, which is epic. And we have our practitioners here for Virgo as well. And Ella, we got to do your class, and we'll get to you, Shay, in a moment. Ella, I know a lot of let me make sure you're in here, sorry. I know like the vision of it changed a little bit throughout the process, but it was kind of perfect. And I will say what came up in our class was unbelievable of just you tuning into what was absolutely perfect for the moment and really truly embodying. I would love for you to really connect the dots for us for Virgo and um the health and wellness class that you taught.
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, it was kind of unexpected. I had a different slideshow that I was going to do, and then that didn't show up. And so knowing how it works, like, all right, obviously it doesn't want to be seen. So what was to be seen? And it was actually, and you'll appreciate this, maybe this could for the next series. It was all about the signs and what signs rule, what parts of the body that the signs rule, and then what foods to eat for each sign. Because every single one of us have a different disposition, right? So we have a fiery disposition, we might tend to balance it out with more earthy foods, right? Or if you have a lot of water, you might want to spice it up and add some fire. So we were able to just go first of all and talk about the body parts, how Aries rules the head, Taurus rules the throat, Gemini, all the two in the body, and go all the way down the correspondence to the zodiacal wheel and the body itself being the last. Pisces rules the feet. So that's something you guys can explore. And there's all kinds of content online where you can get that information. And then also too, the foods to eat, perhaps when the moon is in a certain sign, because our emotional nature changes every 2.5 days. So on the days like today is Cancer Day, I know that for me, the moon in Cancer, I want something very nurturing, sometimes comfort food, right? 'Cause Cancer can be very emotional and very from the home. So a home cooked meal, that's supporting my digestion because Cancer rules the stomach and digestion, making sure I'm eating foods that are digestible and nourishing and that I feel nurtured on those days. And so it was just a great class to kind of bring awareness, body awareness, that our emotional nature is going to shift and it can be reflected on what we do for our body to bring balance into that, which is very Virgo, because Virgo is all about the path of least resistance, the most efficient, purification, cleanliness. It's the only zodiacal sign that's represented by a female archetype, which is, the virgin energy, which is just purity in and of itself. And historically, virgin meant not married, had nothing to do with sexuality. But so yeah, that's kind of what manifested as far as the Virgo class. And for me, I've had to learn to embody Virgo, being a digital nomad and having to have my root system. I think of myself like an air plant. My roots are in the air because I'm constantly traveling. So Virgo rules the 6th house in the zodiac, and it also represents our everyday routines. So even the word routine has the word root in it. So what you do every day is going to build that foundational root system. So it's a good time to analyze, like, what are your routines? What do you do routinely? What do you think routinely? What are you watching routinely? How are you speaking? It's just points of reference, because everything matters, literally will matter into physical form, which is Virgo. So that was just an exploration that we did in the class. It was really fun. And for next time, we'll pair with you. I'll give you, maybe we can show that slides, because it's kind of neat to see, again, the dispositions when Aries likes to eat this types of food and how they like to eat it, like on the go appetizers, where Taurus likes more of a slower meal, sensuous, because it's all the 5 senses. Gemini likes snacks foods and eats, quickly throughout the day. And Libra likes to make sure that everything's pretty and balanced, and you know what I mean? So there's just, this is also just a way to know your nature, even on how you like to engage with your food and your body and everything. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a powerful class. And Shay, I know we have not done your class yet, which we will probably in May, I'm hoping. When, divine timing. And but I would love for you, if you'd like, to say a few words in regards to the intention of the class in regards to Virgo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can, we'll talk soon and we'll release those dates. In terms of it for I Embody, you know, using fire magic. It's one of the oldest types of magic. It's a form of sympathetic magic. And using candles, that's kind of my wheelhouse because it's a representation of all of the elements. And it actually can be a microcosm to symbolize a person of transformation. And I like adding the fire element to Virgo because it produces some kind of spontaneity. I think a lot of it, we talk, there was through each sign, everybody kind of talked about the shadow aspects of the different the different zodiac signs. And I do think that a lot of it is not that they're inherently bad, but that there's an overindulgence. There can be an overindulgence in the light and there can be an overindulgence in the dark. And I think that using something that is using a tool that is not traditionally thought of will help balance out some of those other aspects so that there's not one that's overruling the other. Does that make sense? It's been a very long day and I'm in the process of planning some big stuff, so I'm a little tired, so I apologize about that. But does that make sense to you, Catriel?
Makes sense.
So I really liked being able to pick Virgo, be picked for Virgo because it's also you're creating that final embodiment to let that transformational process take place, and then combining it with spontaneity so that getting out of that rigidity that Virgo tends to have. Virgos tend to be they're great organizers. I admire Virgos quite a bit because they have a meticulous manner about them that I don't necessarily possess. But I also know that they can be a little, and I'm sorry, I don't mean it in a bad way to all you Virgos out there, but you guys are a little uptight. So I just thought that's what we're trying to do, is trying to honor Virgo as well as provide some balance to that, because it appears that a lot of your classes, they were complementary, but they were also very contradictory to the normal of what you would think would pair with those signs. And I thought that was very brilliant of you to do that.
Thank you. All channeled. I just listen.
It's got really dark. I can't see your faces
I
anymore.
know.
Sun's going down.
Light, but we're gonna close it soon here. And I just want to say thank you all for being here, and just we're doing something really cool, with the zodiac energies and seeing a different light and a different lens. And I'm very excited for what's coming. Essentially it's already here. We're just opening the door of awareness to it. And like you guys are important to me, and you're my soul fam. And I see us growing so much beyond what we can even imagine. And my only wish is that we all stay in our hearts and just be ourselves, our true authentic selves together. And as a token of gratitude, here are the things. Oh. Okay, I'll get bags first. You'll get yours in person. Yeah.
Thank you for pulling this together. I think it's really interesting how the different signs blended together and segued into one another. Fascinating as I'm hearing the other practitioners talk, but you did an amazing job pulling this together and organizing it. I just don't know how you did it. And the people that you pulled into this just shows that you are a magnet for these types of collaborations. And I really encourage you to continue doing this work because you're showing up really big on the planet right now
Yes.
when this planet needs this right
Oh.
now. And what you are doing is you're coming from a place of love. You are love. You're pure, unadulterated, unconditional love. And that's what you brought to this group in bringing everybody together. So I want to say thank you. Aho, mer.
Remember. Yes,
We should all murder
I
together.
concur.
1, 2, 3.
And Montreal see that.
I receive the myrrh. And I send back the myrrh. Oh, they're in the back. Oh, yeah, that. So I have oh, cool.
1 in 7 bouquet.
You're awesome. Wow. I have flowers for each of you.
Oh, that's really sweet. She's been above and beyond.
Thank you.
Oh,
much.
so sweet.
No, it's not everything.
Oh, thank you.
Way
Oh,
to turn that around, girl.
That's right.
so pretty.
And I also want to say, we'll save that for Shay.
Look at those. And they smell so
Because I also got one for Jana as well.
Oh.
Jana has stepped in and at the middle of the series, nonetheless, and really transformed so much. Because I would not have been able to do this without her. There's a lot of energy coming through. Like we created a huge space, huge sacred space with a lot of energy. And we have another, we have the what did we call it at this point? Summer fall session coming up, which, we're going to be working really diligently to put the pieces together in a more organized way, to see this grow and to touch each soul in a very divine, beautiful way. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
And oh yeah, the bags for staying. Tree of life. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Gemini, she's not here right now.
The bag.
Aquarius. There you go.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
I haven't had a wood one yet.
Oh.
I did.
Taurus.
Yeah, I did.
Sorry about the sizing of the bags. They only had one
You know,
size.
I see you posted. I'm like, why am I not going? Why am I
You're
not
perfect,
going?
yeah. Sorry.
So beautifully.
That's what I heard.
And
I'll have to come over.
I will give you all your presents when I see you. Thank you, Shay.
Well, this
Okay,
is beautiful.
Can you see me?
all right.
And then it's on the 30th.
Hey, I can hear you. Yes, I can see you. It's a little dark, but I was
Sorry about
trying
that.
to be like, oh, it's okay, I hear you. But
We're in
that's
shadow
very
period.
sweet of you, Catriel.
Mer.
Aw. All right, guys. I do have to sign off. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you in person if I haven't met you before. Congratulations on a successful series. And I am very honored to be part of such an amazing group of individuals. So
Mer.
you guys have a good night, and I'll see you at the makeup class.
Yes.
Bye, guys.